Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our show, Light on America. I'm Pat Mycone, president of the Republican Club of Laguna Woods, and I'm here with my friend and colleague, Ro Kendall, who's our vice president of programs. We look forward to being with you again, to bring truth and facts, reveal things not in our mainstream media necessarily, and our goal is to dispel misinformation, disinformation, and even malinformation surrounding the key issues of the day. So, Ro.
Yes, we're very happy to be here with you again. And we have so much to talk about. So today we'd like to focus on the most important subject that's coming right up here, and that is casting our votes for the presidential primary that's coming up. And we're going to help you with how to do that. So, Pat, we're ready to vote in this 24 election.
Yep, we're ready to vote. And yes, it's coming up fast upon us, Ro. There's so much to do. We are heading into a historic and predictably, I've heard the word tumultuous time in our lives. And as we prepare for this upcoming primary in the presidential election, I have actually heard, and it's widely been told, that this is the crucial election in our lifetimes. So we are working hard to get out the vote and do all the things we need to do. So,
yes. I think the most important thing that we all want is fair elections.
Yes.
And I know that you'll agree that there's so much to accomplish this month and through the rest of the year leading up to the main presidential election. And I believe the most important consideration is to elect Republicans.
Yes.
Because that's what's going to change and turn this thing around, because what's happening now is not working, so we need to change it.
We do. We need to get back to our constitutional, following the Constitution, and give people liberty, freedom, limited government, low taxes, all the things and the values that we believe in. Fellow villagers, we really want to say this can be a very grave and dangerous situation in our lifetimes right now. So we will implore you to plan to get out and vote. And we're going to be going through some more details, but we really need everyone to get out and vote.
So first, are you registered? Are you registered Republican to vote in the Republican primary? And that's really important. You can check your status by going to ocvote.org. If your status is unaffiliated or independent, you'll be able to change your status to Republican so that you can vote in the primary. You can change back afterwards if you want to, but I think it's important to know that you must be registered as a Republican to vote in this primary.
And Ro, I think that snuck up on a lot of people. They didn't realize that to be able to vote in a presidential primary, to actually have the president you want to vote for on your ballot, you have to be registered Republican. Our party has a closed system, so you have to be registered Republican. We just had a recent situation where we got about 300 names of people in our village who were registered unaffiliated. So we contacted everyone just to make sure, is that what you want?
Right.
And if not, give them the option. And we were able to successfully help people re-register. So we managed to do that. We had a lot of good volunteers doing that.
What percentage would you say?
It's hard to tell because lots of times we're leaving messages, but
Right.
the people that we did talk to, it was effective.
Right, so we're going to have the ballots, and they're going to be mailed out on February 5th. That's right.
Next Monday.
Yes, and that's going to every registered voter in Orange County, and even in the whole state, of course, but we're concerned with Orange County. And we're going to put the ballot guide. It's going to be published in the Globe, and then we're going to send it out to all our members also. And it's going to be posted on our website at the Laguna Woods Village Republican Club website. And we'll put that up at the end of the show.
So let's talk a little bit more about what we're actually, some more events we're doing to help promote the Get Out the Vote effort. Can you talk on some of the ballot marking parties we're going to have?
Oh, sure. We're going to have 3 ballot marking parties, and the first one is February 5th, and that will be at the 19 restaurant from 1 to 3 in one of the rooms over there. I think it's rooms 1 through 3 also, so that might be easy to remember.
Yeah.
And then that's the first session. The second session will be on February 24th. So the first one is February 10th. The second session is February 24th, and that's going to be at Clubhouse 7. And one's going to start at 10 a.m. till 11:45, and the other will continue on right after at 12 to 2 p.m. So hopefully you'll be able to go to one of those three events so that we can get some clarity. I think we did that in 2022, and it was a great success.
It was. We had more
it.
people than we really even planned for. So it's free of charge, and we'll have a lot of fun, and we'll help you get prepared. We'll also have our ballot marking party schedules posted at the end of the show, and we'll be producing it in the Globe as well, and sending out email to all our members.
Right. So, Pat, what is the best and most secure way that people can vote?
I'm glad you're telling me. This is my passion, Ro. Securing our elections is the most important thing we do, because without that, we have nothing. We cannot do anything. Right. So we recommend in-person voting, same-day voting, paper ballot, and going to the polls in person.
Yes.
And President Trump and the Election Integrity Project of California also recommends it. So we are recommending this. Right. There's another school of thought to mail in your ballot early, but we know that there's reasons for that. Many, it's too much to talk to at this time, chain of custody, all that. But for the most, to protect our vote, the best way is to vote in person.
Yeah, look what happened in Iowa and New Hampshire. President Trump set records in both of those caucuses, and the votes were counted by hand, and it worked.
Yeah, same day. And they got the results by the time we could watch it at night and enjoy it like it used to be in the olden days.
That's right.
It's also, I want to point out also, Ro, there's a difference between the in-person voting and dropping your ballot at the vote center.
Right.
Many people, and I myself in the past, I've thought that, but it's important to know that when you drop your ballot in the box, that we still don't know that we can't protect that chain of custody. We can trust that the people at the vote center will send it, but it's out there. Now, when you fill out your paper ballot that they give you, you put it in the scanner, you watch it go in, and it actually goes right to the ROV directly. And then that ballot is then put into a scanner file, a box.
Right.
So then I take my ballot home. I do not surrender it. Do not surrender it to the vote center, because you've already voted. You want to take it home, and then later go into ocvote.org, and you can check that your ballot's been cast.
Right. And you actually did a demonstration recently to show how easy and smoothly this all works.
Yes. We've been involved with the New California State, an organization of folks who are going to try to put California into 2 states so that our values line up in our finances and all that. But we were, on Saturday, January 27th, we had about 100 people come in a 4-hour time span, just fill out simple questions. But first, they had to show their driver's license and a proof of residence where they were. And then when they voted, at the end of the day, we counted them, and it was easy and it was fun. And we were really heartened to see so many patriots come out who know they need to vote in person.
Well, I'm sure you'll be taking those results to the Board of Supervisors, hopefully.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
It was a demonstration project. You're right,
great.
that we wanted to do that road, yes.
Yeah, so now what's next?
What's next? Well, we just have to vote. We need to encourage our friends and our family to just get out and vote. That's the most important thing. We'll have volunteers that will be willing to drive people to the polls. If you want to be driven to the polls, just call the number 714-697-0014. We'll post it at the end of the show, but we'd be happy to drive you to the polls and bring you back. We're that committed to in-person voting.
We have volunteers standing by.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's ask ourselves then, are we better off today than we were 3 years ago? Big question.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
Well, sometimes they have to choose between heating their homes and buying medicine and eating. So those aren't good options. We need to be able to have security in all those areas.
Yes.
So we are affected.
You know, since Biden took office in 2021, Ro, he executed over 94 executive orders that have orders that rolled back the Trump policies that allowed us to have the prosperity and the policies that kept us safe and prosperous. So yes, and the Democratic Party is responsible for rolling those back and for allowing this chaos and this Bidenomics to occur that is really severely hurting our Americans.
Right. I think one of the first things he did was to shut down the Keystone Pipeline, and that just turned off all our energy security, and we are now paying the price for that with higher gas prices, again, energy costs, everything, the trucking, the transfer of our groceries,
Yes.
the gas prices are higher.
Yes.
These truckers can't really, fill up those huge tanks
Right.
very easily. So it's really hard. This whole economy is being destroyed by his policies, basically.
Yes, it is. Another thing are his strategic plans for open borders over the past 3 years.
Yes.
It's allowed approximately 10 million illegals from about 150 countries, and many of them are terrorists who want to do us harm, and many are enabling human trafficking,
Right.
sex and labor trafficking. Mark Levin, I watch Mark Levin on Saturdays and Sunday nights, and he now says that we have an outbreak of modern day slavery. I about fell over in my chair when I
Yes,
heard him say that.
crazy.
We have it with open borders that's exploding the labor and sex traffic industry, involving countless mothers, children, and babies. I mean, oh my golly, I can't
Babies.
believe it. So these sad and truthful facts have been beautifully shown in the movie Sound of Freedom.
Yes, and hopefully we'll be able to bring that to you. We're planning on it. We're trying to get the election stuff, but after that we're going to have a movie or two. So
Yeah.
we're planning on that being
Yes.
one of them. And the other thing is about fentanyl,
Yeah.
killing all our kids with fentanyl. They think they're just
100,000
having
a
a
year.
little, cheap thrill or something. I don't know what they're thinking,
Yep.
but it kills them,
Yes.
young people.
Yes, yes.
So we, and about, you mentioned Sound of Freedom. I thought that it was very curious at the recent Academy Awards that Sound of Freedom, even though it was the #1 grossing independent film, it did not even get one nomination. I think that's very telling.
That is telling. Wow.
So
That's why I don't watch those shows. Okay. And what about our legal immigrants? They're being incentivized by this administration to cross our border, causing an invasion.
it is. It's an invasion. So
Yes.
we have to call it what it is. It's an invasion.
And what do you think the purpose in that is, Ro? What do you think the purpose
Well,
of
I
open
think what
borders is?
they're trying to do, if they're allowed to proceed, is to create more democratic voters, and that's just not okay because that's not. People have to earn citizenship, and they can't vote unless they're citizens.
Right.
So they have to spend time learning our culture, our language, our history, our Declaration of Independence, and you can't just go, "Wow, you're a citizen now. Vote for me." So these are issues that really have to be addressed.
Yes, they do. People need to assimilate into our, be willing
Absolutely.
to assimilate into our community. So it's kind of more like a third world
Oh,
totalitarian state it's becoming, isn't it, Ro?
It's trying to become, but we're not going to let that happen.
No, we're not. It's not a democracy, is it?
No.
That isn't a democracy.
Not yet, no. It's no
Okay.
longer a democracy.
Right.
When people can just, or people, our government can just do what they want, and it doesn't matter what the people want. It just matters what they want to do, and it's not okay.
Right.
So we have to get our legislators on board.
We do. And there's a difference between democracy and a republic. We are a constitutional republic.
Yeah.
And in that, we have democracy by our laws following the Constitution. But one of the key differences is with a republic, there are checks and balances. We have the executive, the legislative, and the judicial, and they're meant to balance each other.
Right.
So if one, like the executive, is out of control, or the it's
Right.
over. It's over.
Right.
So let's repeat. I want to repeat.
Okay.
Biden is giving over the safety and priority of U.S. citizens to 10 million illegals from 150 countries, many terrorists, with about 2 million gotaways by him. So we have 11 months to go. So Americans are waking up to the dereliction of duty of this president.
Yes.
So, the president and all the elected officials, they are sworn, and when they swear in the day, they're sworn to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And I'd like to read that. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Yes.
So,
and we have laws on the books,
yes,
that are supposed to, they should protect the nation's sovereignty by, blocking these invasions on our borders, but nobody's paying attention to those.
Right.
And we have Biden, Harris, Mayorkas, and they're all telling us that our borders are secure. Well, they're lying. Okay, it's a lie, and we can't drink that Kool-Aid. It's a lie. So I'll say it.
Well, we see it with our own eyes, don't we, Ro?
Well,
and we
yeah.
live it. We live it with our purse, our pocketbook. Have you been to a restaurant lately?
Not as often as I'd like to. Mm-hmm. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's really crazy, the prices,
Yeah.
and I understand it, but it makes it very prohibitive.
We've opened up our meetings to speaker only now, so people who may not want to budget it in, or they don't have the time, but they can. We want everyone to be able to come to our meetings and hear our speakers and be kept up to date with what's happening.
Right.
And encourage them. We want to encourage everyone.
Yes.
Keep encouraged. There's always hope.
Yes.
So Biden continues to say all is well, as Rose said, but we know what we live. The real result of Bidenomics is the skyrocketing gas, food, medical expenses, our mortgage, our rent, all these things, and American families are just becoming poorer. We all see it. We all hear it. With our communities being overrun with illegals to all the 50 states, not just the border states like it used to be, the economic and social impact is overwhelming, not only to Californians, but all the 50 states. Illegals are being transported to cities and given living expenses with a credit card for medical, food, housing, while our own U.S. citizens are struggling to buy the necessities and pay their own rent.
We don't have the resources to handle this influx. We'd love to, feed the world, take care of the world, but in fact, our own citizens are being they have to do without. Recently, I had to take my husband to the emergency room. It was 9 o'clock at night, and we walked in, and there was wall-to-wall people. Every seat was filled, and it was going to be a 3 to 4 hour wait.
Wow.
And we asked, well, what's going on? And the person checking people in said, well, we can't refuse aid to anyone. Mm-hmm. So this is the system that illegals are using for their own medical care, and who can blame them? What else can they do?
Yes.
But we're just not geared up for it, and we can't sustain this.
No, we can't.
So
imagine if you in your home, we were told that we would have to take 150 people into our home, house them, feed them, clothe them, and all that. How would that be? That's kind of like what it is. Our country is being invaded, and it's overwhelming. Yeah. And I think it's by design. We have another example in our misdemeanor laws. In California, we have a supermajority Democrat-run state legislator, and they are creating insane policies that we're fighting every day, parental rights and all this. But I want to focus right now on the misdemeanor laws that are causing crime. It's only a misdemeanor, not a felony, if you go into a CVS or a Walgreens, grab everything off the shelf. If it's under $950, it's okay. That's a misdemeanor.
And that's causing all those big stores to close down and get out of the hot zones like San Francisco. Even Oakland, I just recently found out that the In-N-Out Burger in Oakland is closing. They're coming out. They're getting out of the city because there's so much crime. There's carjackings, there's robberies in their parking lot, and it's just not worth it. So they're closing down.
Oh, golly, life is really...
And I recently heard from an executive at Kaiser. I just want to say this too, because it's so unsafe to be in these cities that they have a huge office building there. Kaiser is in Oakland, and they have the management has recommended that the staff do not go out for lunch but stay inside during their lunch hours because there's just so much possibility for crime there.
Oh, that's
It's
incredible.
horrible.
That's incredible. Incredible. Well, Ro, now we're going to hear from, we have a video from Kevin Roberts. He's the CEO of Heritage, and he's going to be giving an important message to us that I think everyone will enjoy. So let's take a listen.
Great.
So if the idea that's going to be swept under the table is part of the idea, hopefully that's not what he means. What do you mean? What do you think he means by retribution?
Well, it's laughable that you would, or anyone would describe Davos as protecting liberal democracy. It's equally,
Standing up for it.
It's equally laughable to use the word dictatorship at Davos and aim that at President Trump. In fact, I think that's absurd. But I'm going to step aside from that constructive criticism and instead answer your question.
Yep.
And I'm going to be substantive here. President Trump, if he's the next president, for that matter, I think whoever the next conservative president is going to take on the power of the elites, which I mentioned earlier. But the thing that I want to drive home here, the very reason that I'm here at Davos, is to explain to many people in this room and who are watching, with all due respect, nothing personal, but that you're part of the problem. Political elites tell the average people on 3 or 4 or 5 issues that the reality is X, when in fact reality is Y. Take immigration. Elites tell us that open borders and even illegal immigration are okay. The average person tells us in the United States that both rob them of the American way of life. They're right. President Trump will take that on behalf of the average American. Elites also tell us that public safety isn't a problem in big American cities. Just travel to New York or Washington or Dallas, Texas. The average person will tell you that the lack of public safety damages not just the American way of life, but their life. President Trump will take that on. Thirdly, I guess the favorite at the World Economic Forum is climate change. Elites tell us that we have this existential crisis with so-called climate change, so much so that climate alarmism is probably the greatest cause for mental health crisis in the world. The solutions, the average person know, based on climate change are far worse and more harmful and cost more human lives, especially in Europe during the time that you need heating, than do the problem and the problems themselves. Fourth, 2 more here, Robin. Okay. The fourth, China. The number one adversary, not just to the United States, but to free people on planet Earth. Not only do we at Davos not say that, we give the Chinese Communist Party a platform. Count on President Trump ending that nonsense. And fifth, as we sit here, another supranational organization, the World Health Organization, is discussing foisting gender ideology upon the global South. These are practices that are under review, if not being rejected, by countries in Northern Europe. The new president, especially if it's President Trump, will, as you like to say, trust the science. He will understand the basic biological reality of manhood and womanhood. And do you know why? Not because of retribution, not because he's a dictator, but because he has the power of the American people behind him. And it's connected to Senator Portman's excellent point that in addition to needing a vigorous executive, we look forward to having the popular will inform both the House and Senate in 2025 to pass laws on all of those issues and many others. Ultimately, Robin, I think President Trump, if in fact he wins a second term, is going to be inspired by the wise words of Javier Milei, who said that he was in power not to guide sheep, but to awaken lions. That's what the average American and the average free person on planet Earth wants out of leaders.
So we still need to touch on Biden's foreign policy, Ro. I think that's important this morning. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but most critical to our country's safety and sovereignty and national security is stopping the threats from our enemies around the world.
Yes.
China,
Yes.
Russia, Iran, and North Korea are the main ones. The closing down of our most strategic air base, Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan, that was in July 2021, not soon after Biden came into office. It's said to be the worst decision by any president in all of history. And it cost us $85 billion and in the loss of military equipment and the loss of life. 13 Americans lost their lives that day. We remember you seeing people hanging off the planes, exiting. But the most important, besides the cost, is the national security that we once enjoyed under Trump. that has been lost.
Well, that equipment is going into, to attack Israel.
Yes.
And everywhere else in the Middle East. So that was kind of on purpose, I think. I think they left it there on purpose. They didn't have to leave it. They could have put it on airplanes and brought it home, or brought it to Germany, brought it anywhere. But to leave it there, that wasn't an accident.
It was said, I think, it's something I think President Trump mentioned, that it was said, one of his advisors said, we'll just leave it there. And I forget who it was.
It was
But he
Millie.
said, no, Millie. But no, no, you can't leave 85 billion. Not only for the cost, but like what you said, the
Right.
impact that it's had around the world. So, also with the recent October 7th attack, a Hamas attack on Israel, and the continued chaos that we're seeing land and sea, that surrender of the Bagram military equipment supplied our enemy with tanks and sophisticated equipment that, as you said, is now being used with our strategic ally Israel. And that military equipment, I've heard, or I've been told and seen, it was proprietary. No one else had it in the world, and now it's out. Now we no longer have the unique tools to protect our own nation. Biden and his administration, they've been funding terrorists now for a while, and they're projecting weakness, and it only enables and emboldens our enemies.
Yes. They don't fear us. They don't respect us. And that's why it's so important to get out and vote them out. We need a change. The definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We need to do different things. We need to bring the Republicans back in to control the economy and the safety of our people.
Yes,
Yeah.
restore our Constitution.
Restore.
So we hope what's at stake got to you today. We hope we've brought up some great points that help you realize your need to vote and our need to have you vote. And we also hope you join us. We have our upcoming meetings monthly. They're every Friday at Clubhouse 5 from 11 to 2 luncheon.
Not
So-
every Friday, the first Friday.
The first Friday, sorry.
Of
Thanks,
every
Ro.
month.
The first Friday of every month. So thank you so much for joining us. We hope you'll give us any comments, any suggestions on our email, lightonamerica.lw@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Bye for now.